So what do you learn? Well, the advantage of established institutions is that they make the selection for you. And the advantage is there because they will know exactly what you need to learn. Because the problem is, if you self-educate, that you may actually miss out on a large chunk of what you need to know without even knowing it. You don't know what you don't know. So how do you get around that? One way is to get hold of the curriculum of an established institution and to then buy the books yourself. Another way is to go to several different institutions or seminars about the subject. Even the free talk that sells you that seminar will hopefully cover most areas you need to know about, even if they don't tell you how to do it or any of the details. If you go to several different speakers, you run less of a risk that the speaker, him or herself, left out a vital area or reserved it just for his preferred clients, who he then charges tens of thousands of pounds or dollars. You still need to do the research in that area yourself if you don't want to pay him or her, but at least you know it's there. Now, the way I like to think of it is it's like a knowledge tree. So if I learn something by myself, I start down here, right? And I start and I learn a little bit and I see it's quite a broad road initially. And then I find a twig going over here, right? And I follow this twig and I see that there are little twigs around, but I'll just kind of go to the end here because that's where I see my first fruit, right? I see my first fruit there. And this is really exciting. And then I find some fruits here and I find some fruits here. But then I realized that, you know, when I was back here, there was something else going up here. I just didn't look at it really. And I go back here and then I realize there's another twig here and there's another twig here. So I first go, oh, and there is another one. And I go up here and then I find another fruit up here. This is the fruit of knowledge now, right? Fruit of knowledge. And I found one here and I found one here. And I go a little bit further and, you know, I find some twigs here, and I think, okay, you know, now I really understand the subject. And then I'm going up here, and all of a sudden, when I'm here and I'm picking the last fruit up here, I realize, I look over there, and I see there's all these other twigs that I completely missed. So I go back down, I think, where did I miss them? And then I realize, oh my God, there's another twig here that I missed, and there's all these other twigs that go from it. And oh my God, it's like a whole tree over here as well. And then there's something in the middle as well. And then there's all these little fruits there that I would have missed if I hadn't gone back to that little bit here and then found that little bit, right? So this little bit, you know, where you go all of a sudden this way, which leads to all the other things, that may have been a footnote in a book somewhere. If you don't read the footnotes, you'll miss it. So I'm finding all these things, and at some point I'm pretty sure that I know everything about this tree, but I keep on reading, you know, as you do if you want to get better at your job. I keep on reading and I find all these little twigs in between, and you know, it's starting to get a really, really full tree. And then I'm here and up here, and then I wonder, you know, there are all these things going on here, and I don't quite realize why. There seems to be something missing, some sort of connection that I'm missing. And all of a sudden I realize what I'm missing is there's stuff coming from the outside. There's information coming from the outside. There's influences coming from the outside, and I don't understand where they're coming from. And then when I'm up here, I all of a sudden realize there's a whole big wood over there as well with all these other trees. And all these other trees, they bring information over here. And that attaches itself at my fruit. And I never realized that before. And that is really cool. You know, there's this tree in Africa. I just found out about this, which is really exciting. It's a tree in Africa that can understand when a giraffe eats on it. And what it does is, within minutes, it puts some poison into its leaves so the giraffe doesn't eat it anymore. But it doesn't only do that. It also puts pheromones into the air, some sort of chemicals at least, into the air that then move to other trees and warn the other trees. So the trees around it will also, within minutes, put this chemical into their leaves so the giraffes can't eat it anymore. And the giraffes have caught on to it. They eat that tree until the leaves turn to, you know, what I guess they don't like. And then they move on, but not to the next tree. They move on to a tree about 100 yards away because that tree hasn't found out yet, because the pheromones or the chemicals in the air haven't reached it yet. And that can be the same thing in your business that all of a sudden you see all these connections from outside. So if you transfer this to business, so this, you know, say you're an entrepreneur, for example, and this represents your business, then this trig may be sales. This trig may be marketing. And initially you maybe only have seen sales and marketing and your product maybe. But this tree, this bit over here, that might be accounting. And if you had missed this, and you had missed accounting, you could have been bitten really badly. And, you know, so all of these different twigs will represent a certain part of what you need to know. So in a business, all the different parts of the business that you need to know. So if you are in a university, for example, they will make sure that you will have all the main bits here, right? They will not give you necessarily all the little information in between, but they will make sure you have all the bits. If you self-educate, you have to make sure that you don't miss one of these junctions. And that is where you need to read the footnotes. And you have to go and find cross-references. If you find something in a book that you don't understand, and you don't understand what it relates to, you have to do some research and find out what it relates to. It could be just a little trick like this, or it could be the junction that leads to all of these other things, right? And once you're there, you will all of a sudden find that other things will affect your tree. So your business, for example, will be affected by market conditions. And the more you understand about your business, the more you will understand how market conditions will affect it. So it is really, really exciting to find that out. And the same thing goes for your job, for anything that you need to learn, right? So if you want to learn law, for example, and you want to learn a certain part of law, say OTC derivatives, and I'll just take that because that's what I worked in for a long time. Then initially you will learn your master agreement. And then you will find out that there are confirmations and that there are master confirmation agreements as well. And then you will realize that if you go to cross-border trading, then you need to put all these other different clauses in that make sure that your agreement actually works in a different country as well, although it's an English law agreement and must work in Germany, Hong Kong, Japan, or wherever you're trading, because otherwise it's not enforceable. So there are all these different bits that you start learning about. Right? And then all of a sudden you will realize, okay, sales and trading, they need this from me. And this is why this is why we have this bit in here. So it's applicable to pretty much everything that you learn. And if you self-educate, as said, make sure you don't miss these junctions. So investigate every time you don't understand something, investigate where it leads, whether it is just a little side thing that is really just something that for specialists, or whether it leads to a whole big other tree. So that is a difficulty with self-educating, but it doesn't mean that it can't be done. If you go along like this, and then you maybe go to seminars, for example, or go to listen to lectures, you will always pick up on some things. Somebody will make a reference. If you're over here, somebody will make a reference to this, and then you just follow this. Once you know what you need to know, it is pretty easy to find out online what your options are. You just need to find out what exactly the format is that you're interested in. Do you want webinars? Do you want a class